successful. It wasn't that he was so accurate throwing the ball deep down the field. It's just that the ball was always going to the open guy. He did a really good job checking it down, taking the profit.
Picked off, and the opening drive is stopped with an interception. Didn't get a ton on the return, but they've got it inside the 20 at the 19-yard line.
Well, statistically, this defense is not one of the better units against the pass. They're trying to change that here today. What a great job tracking the ball down, making a play on it, stabbing it out of the air for a big interception early. That should be massive for their confidence.
And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. Second down, they'll go to the air, using the back as a receiver on the screen. They'll spot the ball at the 12 after that completion. This crowd knows when to bring it. He's looking to throw on 3rd and short. Fires it incomplete. So the offense is going to go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. It's dropped, and oh, what a tough way to end this drive. A bold decision to go for it on 4th down, and one that did not pay off. Makes the grab. Boy, that was a precision play all the way around. Throw, catch, tackle, bang, bang, bang. Pulls and throws off the RPO. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. Looking to throw on 3rd. It's on target and complete. Gets the job done on 3rd down as he gets it out to the 25. Got a man. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. Now on 2nd down. Wants to keep it in the air. Caught. He almost picked up the first down on that one, but he'll be just a little bit short. The Cowboys are at the line trying to move the sticks on 3rd and short. Wide open, makes the catch. Oh, he's got some space. Putting together a real scoring threat here as they pick up the first down at the 36. And the Cowboys want to crank the tempo. Here's the handoff. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Last play didn't go well. It leaves him with 2nd and 11. Wants to go up top. Fires to the tight end. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup. On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. He's got his man across the middle. Just outside the red zone as they pick up the first down. They'll spot it at the 22. Gets open down the middle. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. The Cowboys are threatening in the red zone. They'll move the tight end. Rides the back and leaves it on the option. Got some room, headed to the goal line. Touchdown, Cowboys! How about this back staying on track and getting it in on the option? Backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost, no problem.
When you start in the black zone inside your own 20 coming out, it's difficult. You can give up a safety. You get worried about that. But the offense puts a great drive together. Great job executing. Great job getting a touchdown.
Setting up for the extra point after the first score of the game. And the PAT makes it 7-0. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Fellas, it has gone final in the ACC, a matchup we've been keeping a close eye on. NC State was far from the friendly confines of Carter Finley Stadium, but still managed to scratch out a win. And there was a lot of chatter this week about this group not being ready. Time to check those receipts, if you know what I mean. We expected to see a shakeup in the ACC. It's bound to happen in this kind of game. But this type of win is a serious statement.
Yeah, how about that? Sounds as if they had a good ball game there. Kevin, thanks for the update. And that pass will be jarred loose on second down. That brings up third down. From the gun, wants to pass. And the third down pass is knocked away by the D.
And this defense, we know, they present a lot of challenges. And you can see it right there, man. They shrink windows fast. They're a top 25 defense for a reason. You really better make sure you're dialed in today, or else they can make you pay in a hurry.
Working his way on the return up to the 40-yard line before he stopped. Oklahoma State has it back, and the offense is on the field. Man, what a drive that was the last time they had it. Basically the length of the field. Much better starting point this time. He had all kinds of company as soon as he got it. He had to fight his way back just to get to the line of scrimmage. They'll run the counter. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Running to Green. He's got enough to move the chains, and they'll spot it at the 47. And the Cowboys will snap it on 1st and 10. Use the play fake, now to throw. Intercepted. A first-half turnover can swing momentum. Picked up a few extra on that return, but what a play by this defense to get the football. The BYU offense headed back out to go on the attack. They didn't get much done the last time they had it. Had to punt it away from deep in their own territory, hoping this drive will be more productive. Finds a man on the left. And perhaps a touchdown-saving tackle as he gets him down at the 37. Wants to go up top on 1st down. Fires to the big fella. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. The play-action fake. Got room to work. Brought down at the 25 after a 5-yard gain. It'll be a 1st down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Give to the back. Got enough for the 1st down and wants more. Wrestled out of bounds at the 12, and another productive play on this drive. They'll ride the hot hand. He's dragged down at the 12 as they try to cash in on this red zone opportunity. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. Looking to fire. He's got it on the run. That completion will take it inside the 4, and the offense is threatening. Not a lot of ground to cover and not much to defend. A big 3rd down in the red zone. And the Cougars have it with a 1st and goal. He'll do it himself. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. And lost ground on 1st down. Now 2nd and goal from the 5. The run up the middle, trying to find his way to the goal line. He's going to lose a yard on that one. On 3rd and goal, you can't hear yourself thinking here. Off the play fake. Fires into the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars! Grab the short pass to put the 6 on the board.
One of the areas they really focused on with this receiver in the offseason was, we need you to make more plays for us in the end zone. When we're taking shots, we need you to be able to step up and make tough catches. And David, what a grab right there.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trusting your guy, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when he's going to sit down, when he's not, so being on the same page, and then having a guy that can go get it. Just when the ball is near him, he's going to make the play, just like he did right there for 6 points.
And they did tack on the extra point. They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. Let's see what he can do with the return. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. We'll see what they can do on this drive that starts at the 16-yard line. Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2. The Cowboys with myriad options after that big pickup on first down. Reads it, fires complete. Hauled down, but they'll move the sticks as he picks up the first down. We played one, and we are right back where we started, all tied up after the first period as we take a look at the stats. They fought to a standstill in the first. Let's see if someone can get the edge in the second quarter. So they'll go back to work after changing into the field. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. Finding a way to put that foot in the ground and get it up to the 37-yard line. And the Cowboys in a good spot here with 2nd and short. Give to the running back. Breaks into the open. Really good job by everybody there. Well blocked, good run, and a first down. They moved the chains on the ground last time. Let's see if they try to hit him up top. Off play action on first down. Takes a hit as he fires. Missed receiver there. It's incomplete. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. They're dealing with a 2nd and long. After the incompletion, back to the passing game. Holds it in. He's finally stopped, but not before he takes it into the red zone. They'll mark it at the 18. The Cowboys will snap it on 1st and 10. He'll keep it himself. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. Plenty of work to do here on 2nd and long. The give. Fights off the defender. Pulled down at the 11-yard line as they inch closer and closer to pay dirt. That gives him 54 yards rushing in this one and within striking distance of a 1,000-yard season. They'll get him stopped just short of the end zone, but they're in business here with a first down. We thought we might see some of this. They'll go to the Wildcat formation here. Direct snap. And the Wildcat is not working. They knock him down behind the line. Defense rolls up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. And he really needed to hold on to that one, but it was not loose, and 3rd down is coming. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. It's 3rd and goal and a long way from the end zone. Tight end now in motion. Quarterback on the keeper. They're going to stop him short, and man, we haven't seen a lot of that. This offense has been a machine on 3rd down. Absolutely center cut. And with that field goal, they now have the lead.
And listen, y'all know in the booth and everywhere how I feel about kickers. Don't always love leaving it on their foot, so to speak, but nice job executing. He keeps doing stuff like that. I'll keep trotting him out there.
He'll bring it out. It's Jones. That is a decision he will likely regret. He brings it out of the end zone, and he's knocked down at the 10. They're going to throw it to start the drive. fires it beautifully in on the crosser. He stopped just a chain link or two away from the first down and sets them up beautifully here. They're going back to the ground. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Off the play fake on first down to throw. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces second down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. He'll pull it on the read. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender. Man, is this place loud right now. The Cowpoke faithful bringing it on third down. From the gun, wants to pass. Makes the catch. He'll go out of bounds at the 38-yard line as this offense patiently tries to work the ball out of its own end. Kick is in the air. Fair catch is made, and they'll mark it at the 19. Oklahoma State hoping to get the Pistols firing on offense. They had to settle for the chip shot field goal last time, Jesse. They'd love for this one to pay off bigger.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, too. Did a nice job out in the field, stalled a little bit once they got down to the goal line, so they just need to be a little bit more crisp here, Dave.
Yeah, and listen, I think the first part was the most important part. You got to put the drive.
There he goes! He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. They'll snap this one from the 30 on 1st and 10. Looking to throw on first down. Got a man in the middle. And he was loose and out the gate and doesn't go down until he gets to the 48-yard line.
And I don't know if this defense knows what just hit them because they gave up the completion, they gave up the first down, and now here's the offense back up at the line of scrimmage again, going tempo.
And they'll bring him down after a short pickup. After picking up a couple at 2nd and 8. They'll run it from the gun. Breaks out another sweet move and gets it down to the 40. And the Cowboys are at the line looking to convert on 3rd and short. Complete on 3rd down. Putting together a real scoring threat here as they pick up the first down at the 36. To the air on first down. Got it set up on the outside. Just making a play, getting it to the 23-yard line. It'll be first down. The Cowboys come to the line with a fresh set of downs. It's complete. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. Working well behind the sticks on 2nd down. They'll give it to the back. Runs through a tackle. There was just nowhere to cut back. Great job by the defense, and he'll have to take the loss. On 3rd down, he drops to throw. And it's picked off for the 3rd time today. Taking it the other way. He'll be stopped, but not before getting the football and picking up big yardage on the return. What a play there. BYU has it back. The Cougars ready to get into that playbook. They just didn't quite find the rhythm on that last drive, Jesse. They had to punt it.
I think they got to be more physical, Dave. I think up front they got to do a better job getting blocks and establishing this running game.
And how easy does football become if you're the more physical team? If you can threaten the run and then run play action, it opens up the whole offense at your disposal.
And he's knocked down, but there's also a flag that's been dropped. Let's check on the call. That penalty moves the ball back 10 yards. We'll replay the down. And now on 2nd down for this offense. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Got quite a ways to go to keep this drive going. It's 3rd down from the 45. Using his legs, it's Thomas. He's not going to make it. What a job by this defense to stop him in his tracks. With Looks as if BYU will have to punt it away. Fair catch is signaled for and made. They'll mark it at the 12, and they'll start in a bit of a hole. Quickly to the tight end. And he won't quite get there, but boy, after that pickup, just a few inches to go for the first. An array of possibilities here. Holds and fires complete to the right. They bring him down, but not before he's able to pick up the first down. They'll take this lead to the 2-minute timeout and see if they can tack on a little more before the break. With a first down, they'll snap it from the 32. The give to the back. And this one will be stopped for no gain. They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Back to pass. Receiver wasn't ready for the throw. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Wide open downfield. And he was loose and not stopped until he gets to the 47-yard line. Got his man. And they pick up just a few on that completion. 6th play of the drive coming up. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half. They'll run this play from the pistol. Looking to go up top, and time's running out in the half. And the defense had that one well covered, just a short gain there. The offense will stop the clock and use one of its timeouts. And the Cowboys lining up, just needing a few tough inches on 3rd down. They'll try to pick it up on the ground. And the runner is down, and so is a flag. A solid gain on that one, and it goes for naught as the penalty will back them up. On 3rd and long, try to convert through the air. Finds the tight end. That's not quite going to be enough as they stop him 4 yards short of the marker. And they're running out the kicker to give it a try. He slides that just inside the right upright. They double their lead up to 6 here in the 3rd quarter. That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update.
All right, fellas, looks like you've had a very enjoyable day there today in Stillwater. And talk about a first half for the dude in that backfield. That coaching staff has been giving rave reviews on a weekly basis. And through 2 quarters today, he's been a complete game changer. He's breaking the will of this defense, and that's something that's just very tough to quantify. With that said, let's send it back to the guys at Boone Pickens Stadium.
The Cowboys will kick it away to crank up the second half. He'll bring it out. It's Jones. And the returner is stopped. The BYU offense headed back out to go on the attack. Tight game as we start the 3rd quarter, and we'll see what type of adjustments they made at halftime.
And getting the ball first here, I think, is such a big deal. Like, I get the first chance to make a statement, to make the adjustments, to create some momentum for my squad right here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I think it's so important for this offense to set the tone here early in the second half, to get a nice drive going, build that confidence, and get your defense ready to come on out, get a stop, and change the complexity of this game.
In the gun, looking to throw on 3rd down. Oh, it's picked off. Not the second half start they'd hoped for. Looking for more room. And with the interception, he'll take it all the way back. Pistols firing. Touchdown, Cowboys. What a play by this defense with the pick 6.
And how about the defender? Exactly what you're supposed to. Breaks on the football, makes the interception. Everybody on defense, we turn to offense. Go lay some blocks so my guy can get it and take it back to the house.
PAT unit on the field. And with the extra point, they stretch the lead to 13. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Guys, wanted to get you a quick update on a game happening in the MAC. Miami has the lead right now, but even here in the cradle of coaches, you just never know. This has been a tight one inside Yager Stadium. They're up by 6 over Toledo.
Handoff from the gun.
Your boy KC has you covered here in studio, guys, in case anything changes in this meeting in the MAC.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. Quick release on the RPO. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. They'll go to work in the air on second down.
And nice job by the defense staying glued to him.
Turning it on. And they get him down at the 43, but this is the kind of explosive play you want to build on. BYU coming to the line with 1st and 10. From the gun to give, looking for room. And he's almost to that first down marker there, saying he's a little bit short. They might want to bring out the sticks and measure, but it looks as if he'll be just short of the first down. They'll go right back to it. Looks as if BYU will have a first down. So they move the sticks on the run. Let's see what they do with this one. Looking to throw on first down. Caught in the backfield, it's Thomas. Got the completion, but nowhere to go as that defense reacted quickly. Second down, they'll go to the air. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense. It is deafening in here. The paddle people going to work. Third down and a big one for the Cowpokes. Trying to set up the screen. He stopped short of the sticks. They tried to pick it up with the screen, but they'll be facing a 4th down. Tries to get it on the ground. How about that defense rising up and stopping him short on 4th down? Quick release by the QB. Line getting set on second down. Wants to go up top. Just a little bit too much juice on that one as the freshman was taking a shot. Fairly manageable distance here on 3rd down from the 27. Leaves it with the running back. They thought they could just run it on 3rd and short, but this defense was there to make the stop. And the Cowboys will punt it away on 4th down. Finally sending out a punter in this one. Got to make sure they earn their letter. Looks it all the way in and now turns his attention upfield. Tries to find a little more running room on that return, but he'll be stopped at the 36. Looking downfield on first down. Makes the grab over the middle. Defense swarming on that loose ball. It'll be a turnover.
And that's a great job by this defense, limiting the yards after catch. We know guys are going to get the football in their hands, and he gets the ball out quick, gets it to him. Nice job running to the football. When you chase the football, man, a lot of good things happen. That ball pops out, you recover it, a forced turnover.
Oklahoma State has it back, and the offense is on the field. After a punt on their last possession, they are set up in plus territory this time.
And honestly, it wouldn't have mattered if they scored a touchdown their last possession. You've got to be able to turn the page and see this as a brand new opportunity to go get points.
Yeah, and your defense has set you up for in a position to get points right away. Now, let's get this offense back rolling again. Create some momentum. Just get a few first downs and I'm in scoring position.
Now facing a 3rd and long. He's looking to throw. Absolutely nowhere to go as this defense makes a 3rd down stop. The Cowboys will punt this one away. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. Punt goes out of bounds, and a really nice job as they stick them deep in their own end. They'll mark it around the 10. They go to the ground. Finds a little bit of room, picks up 4 out to the 13. After the productive first down play, it's 2nd and 6. Looking to fire. Throws to the tight end. Working on the right. He'll get it up to about the 32-yard line before he's stopped, and it'll be first down. Wants to throw on first down. Lost one deep down the right side. Pulls it in down the sideline. Touchdown, BYU! Made the grab and took it on in for the score.
Quarterback's abilities to read the field is huge, and also the anticipation, the timing. To be able to throw the football, Jesse, and hit a guy in stride so he can get run after the catch and get in the end zone, that was a nice job by the quarterback.
Yeah, it's critical, David. And listen, a lot of times touchdown passes aren't thrown into the end zone. You've got to read the coverage, hit the open guy, and let him do the rest.
Now they'll line up for what they hope is automatic. And the PAT will draw them 1 point closer. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they finish things off with a big play, 68 yards on the touchdown pass. Bringing it out. And the coverage team able to wrestle him down. Oklahoma State hoping to get the Pistols firing on offense. They still have the lead, but they need to respond to that last score. And he'll lose yardage on this play. Loses 2 yards. Great job by the defense. Pulls and fires complete. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a first down. Chance to build a little momentum here by converting this third down from deep in your own territory. He did not make it a stone wall on third down. And the Cowboys decide to punt it away. Return's going to get it up around midfield. He'll be down at the 49-yard line. Let's see what this offense has dialed up this time. Out of the gun, the running back has it.
That's a really good job by the defense, wrapping them up, getting them on the ground, take away that run game, make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
To the air on second down. Fires to the big fella. Didn't pick up a lot there, moved it forward just a few.
We're able to find the tight end for an easy completion, but good job tackling, not allowing him to get the first down.
This place loud right now. The Cowpoke faithful bringing it on third down. They'll try to move the chains on the ground. He's not even going to make it back to the line of scrimmage as the defense gets big-time penetration. Punt is on its way. And that is just a spectacular punt, and he will pin them in the shadow of their own goalpost inside the 5. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on second down. Pulls and fires it complete to the right. And the spin move bought him a little time, just not a lot of yardage. You've got a third and manageable backed up in your own end, but convert here and you get some momentum. Looking to the big tight end. He's got it. And the defense makes the immediate tackle, but he has enough for the first down. Pulls it and fires to the left. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few. Behind the chains now on second and long. Red pass, it's complete. Works his way to the 41, and that is plenty to give him a first down. And talk about spreading the ball around. Everyone getting a chance to show off the hands based on the number of targets we've seen. Here comes the fourth. Time to see who steps up, who makes the winning plays to take home that W. They go back to work in the final period of this one. Just keep slinging it. Just a short pass to the tight end. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there. Still a bit short of the first down. The Cowboys can really attack on this second and short. Snagged out of the air. And he's tackled, but there's also a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. And here comes play number 6 of the drive. Quick completion to the right. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. The deep thinking brings some heat on 3rd and long from the 44. Got a man. It's Beard. And he was off to the races. Finally tipped up at the 36. And the Cowboys moving quickly to the line.
Well, this defense has given up some big plays in this game so far, but they've got a lot of talent on that side of the football. Someone has to step up here, make a play, get a stop, and put their team in a position to win.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. He's got it on the right. And he picks up a 1st down. That is not a flag on the play. It's just lingerie on the deck after that move. The RPO, fire complete to the left.
This slot receiver gives defensive coordinators nightmares. You have got to double him virtually on every pass play. He better have safety help over top. Otherwise, this guy's a threat to score every time they throw the ball.
The Cowboys with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. The RPO, it's complete. He hauled that one in and got it down to the 15-yard line. They've been really good moving the chains on 3rd down. Now 1 yard away from another 1st down on this drive.
Well, we've seen this a couple times on this drive now, but having a lot of success with the quarterback sneak, and there's something going on up front right now, whether it's just the offensive line getting a better push or he's finding the crease to the right side of the center or to the left side. Whatever he's doing, it's working. The defense has not been able to stop him when they just ride the center and the QB sneaks.
Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the 1st down without getting it into the end zone. They'll go to the counter. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. Defense has to be frustrated. The offense keeps matriculating and matriculating and matriculating the ball down. Give him 6. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. They tack on another score, and how about the way this team has responded to a loss and now about to move to 9-1.
Every time we speak to defenses before they play this guy, they all know he's going to get the ball thrown his way. They always come up with creative and exotic ways to try to cover him in the back end, but they're never able to get it done. This guy just beats coverage time and time again. And with that last catch, that's now his 15th receiving score of the season.
We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Phyllis, take a peek at what's happening in this interesting battle in the MAC. Miami has the lead right now, but even here in the cradle of coaches, you just never know. This has been a tight one inside Yager Stadium. They're up by 7 over Toledo. The MACtion never sleeps, and we'll circle back. If anything big happens, you should know about it.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. Back to pass on 2nd down. And the pass is incomplete, jarred loose by the hit. It is deafening in here. The paddle people going to work. 3rd down and a big one for the Cowboys. From the gun, wants to pass. He hurls one deep down the left side. And that one's incomplete. They weren't just trying to move the chains. They were trying to move the scoreboard. Instead, it's 4th down. He'll get away another punt. He's been really active today, and no doubt he's going to earn his varsity letter. Oklahoma State has it back, and the offense is on the field. They reeled off a long touchdown drive the last time they had it. Much better field position this time around. Quickly out to the tight end. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. 2nd down, he'll throw it. Got his man. At midfield, he's got room. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is. So that penalty is going to cost them the first down as they back up, and now it's second down. Second down coming up. They'll run play action. Got his man quickly. He'll be run out of bounds, but we've got laundry on the field. Let's see what that's about. Just an obvious holding call there, and one that just kills an offense's momentum. Wants to fire on second down. Makes the catch. It's Beard. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup. Third down coming up after the completion. Looking to throw, and he needs a bunch. Caught in the backfield. It's Beard. Didn't have much room to run and not a whole lot of help. Short gain there, and still plenty of ground to cover for the first down. Punt is on its way. Tries to find a little more running room on that return, but he'll be stopped at the 36. BYU has it back. The Cougars ready to get into that playbook. Not the day they had hoped to have, but when you are a... Oh, he's got some space!
And these are these moments, man, when you're trailing by a couple possessions, you've got to put it together. Your quarterback has to come through. I mean, it's not a surprise. It's going to be passes. He's got to be smart. He's got to be quick with his decision-making, and they kind of got to be up near the line of scrimmage and be in a little bit of a hurry.
Better find the earplugs. Here comes the noise, backing this defense on third down. Unloads to the wideout. Got his man to the left. He found plenty of room, and he gets it to the 39-yard line.
Well, trailing like they are right now in the fourth quarter, their execution offensively is just going to have to be at a premium. You can't afford a lot of incompletions at this point. Everybody is going to need to be on the same page moving forward.
He's stopping behind the line of scrimmage, tried to break out the spin move, and still couldn't get loose. Going to swing it on second down. He's got the tight end. That's a really good tackle there, giving up some size and still making the play. Quick strike complete. Now well within striking distance as that third down play gets him a first at the 29. They'll go with a direct snap. They'll pull him down after a pickup of 5 down to the 23. The Cougars racing to the line in the hurry-up. Second down, they'll go to the air.
I know that wasn't a huge, sexy gain. I know not everybody's jumping up and down, but what it does do is put you in a great position to succeed on second down. Second and 10, really hard. Third and 10, really hard. Now you're in a manageable situation. It really gives you the whole playbook.
It's complete to the left. Now the connection takes it to the 11. Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. Back to pass. Pocket breaking down. And here comes the heat, and they get home, and they get him at the 21. Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Looking for the end zone. Snags it. So close to that end zone. He could almost taste it, but it'll be first and goal for this offense. He's looking to pass. Touchdown, BYU! Fitted in the window for the score. Well, we wondered exactly where the momentum was, and it looks as if Uncle Mo might have switched sidelines and switched families.
And momentum is such a big thing. It's such a real part of college football, isn't it? And you can just feel that right now. It just felt a few minutes ago like this game was over, and all of a sudden, this team, they're believing in themselves. They've got some wind. They've got some hope. Their defense now needs to get the football back to keep that momentum going.
They're getting set to kick it away, and that last score took a little oomph out of this crowd. On the move from inside his 5. He's chased out of bounds inside the 15. They'll mark him out at his own 14-yard line. Not much on that kick return. Out of the chute. Quick toss to the right. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. And the Cowboys can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. They'll keep it on the ground. They want this clock to move. Timeout called there by the defense, desperate to get the ball back and save as much time as possible. Trying to pick up a first down. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to throw for it. And it's incomplete despite some serious arm strength shown there. The Cowboys will try to pin them back with the punt. They've been busy out there to punt for the 5th time today. They'll put a stop to that return at about the 37-yard line. The BYU offense headed back out to go on the attack. They took it down the field for a touchdown the last time they had it, and now an opportunity to take the lead in this football game.
So they got to be feeling good. They did their part, score, your defense does your part, Jesse. This offense, keep that momentum. I would say stay aggressive here.
And just keep doing what you were doing in that last drive, right? Or whatever was working for you, just go back. Keep using those same playmakers to allow you to go down here and score a touchdown.
On 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. Finds his big tight end. They'll get the first down. It's spotted on the 49. Clock stops. We have reached the 2-minute timeout, and the offense is looking for a play to close this deal out. Wants to go up top on first down. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball. Well, will they dial up on 2nd and a long way to go? Wants to throw again. This time he's got his man. Really putting together a threat now. They get the first. It's at the 37. The run from the shotgun.
And this offense doesn't have very many runs left in them. They try to sneak in the run. Nice job by the defense making the tackle. But they've got to try to maximize their time, maximize their plays to try to get some points on the board.
And that's going to fall to the ground incomplete. That was a physical matchup there. 3rd down coming. From the gun, wants to pass. Throws for the tight end. Finds a man on the right. Just across the 20 with a first down at the 19. The Cougars come to the line with a new set of downs. They're looking to pass from the red zone. Setting up the screen. Breaks into the open. He'll be brought down at the 3-yard line. An explosive play in the passing game has him on the doorstep. We've got a timeout on the field, a tight game in the 4th, and the Brain Trust will go to work. Pushes toward the goal line. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Cougars.
That touchdown ties the game, so you're expecting them just to kick the extra point, take a 1-point lead. Seconds left now. You got to play great defense here to try to ice this game and get the win.
Just an extra point away from taking the lead late. And the extra point gives them a 1-point lead here in the 4th. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. On the run from inside his own 5. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. They'll send the back in motion. Throws it back. And it's incomplete. They were looking for the huge gain on first down. No time to waste here. They've got to get set and pick up chunk yardage. He'll do it himself. They'll give him 4 on that one. It's 3rd and 6. The offense takes a timeout with 30 seconds left. On 3rd and long, he has to throw for it. He's taking the deep shot. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. Down a possession here in the fourth, and they'll need to convert on this fourth down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. Complete out of the backfield. Offense will use a timeout. 19 seconds left in the game. They've got to move quickly here. Still a chance, but they've got to force the ball down the field. Right on the money. They'll mark him down at the 37. It's a 10-yard gain. Timeout is called by the offense. They have 14 seconds left. Looking to throw on first down. Tight end finds a soft spot. Found a little bit of room to operate, but he'll be stopped just short of the first down. Everybody lined up, quickly snapped and spiked to stop the clock. Got to get everybody lined up quickly. Time winding away, and they've got to push the ball down the field. He'll try to do it himself. And he scoots his way to the first down and then slides to avoid the hit. Guys, if you want to go strictly by the rankings, I guess this was an upset, but to my eyes, we saw two really good teams slug it out, and one of them came out on top.
Yeah, two really good teams. And that's a reason why they're both ranked. They're both really good. And I tell you what, getting this win proves something to everyone else now. Like, I was ranked below this squad. You beat a team that's ranked above you. Now you start to climb up the charts, build some momentum. This squad's about to get some more respect, Palmer.
I think good teams find ways to win games, especially in a game like this. Two ranked opponents, evenly matched. Who's going to be able to make the plays when it matters the most? You got to give this team credit. This is a big win. It's impressive, and now they get to move up the rankings.
That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.